In Precalculus, section 1, 2, we're analyzing graphs, specifically graphs of functions and relations. And we're not only going to be reading how to find the information on the graph, but we're going to confirm it algebraically. That means use the equation and the graph to both confirm our predictions, or what we're reading is correct. Because the more proof, the better, right? So, for example, this equation is the function f of x, negative 5x squared plus 50x. Approximates the profit at a toy company. So this is the profit at a toy company. So the amount of money that they spend on marketing, so the amount of money, the cost that it costs them to advertise, and then how much profit that they make off of it. And if you're reading it, you can tell that the more, like, this is the height. If they spend any more than 50,000, because it's in 10,000s, then they start losing money from profit. I mean, they don't maximize a profit. This would be the maximize. So it says estimate the profit if the costs are 30,000. Confirm algebraically. So if this is 30,000 right here, then it should be profit of 100 times 10,000. Okay, so we have to, when we put 30 in for this, it should give us, we're putting it for marketing, so in for x, because this is our x, and this is our y. When we put 30 in for x, then that means we should be getting 100, because this value, I've multiplied it by this, but the number actually represented is right here in 100. You're wanting to find where this is at, I'm not going to be plugging in 30, I'll be plugging in 3, because 3 times 10,000 would be 30,000. So this is supposed to be a negative, because that's where that sign is. So I'm going to plug in 3 in for x. And remember, I'm doing that because 30,000 is represented in 3's, because it's in 10,000s. Negative 5x squared plus 50x. This gives me 3. So then this is negative 5, 3 squared times 9 plus 150. This is then negative 45 plus 150, which would give me 105. Which is near 100, right? Because if I look at this, it's a little bit above, actually, 100. So if I multiply that by the profits of 10,000 times 10,000, because the marketing is sorry, not the marketing, the profit is 10,000s. I'm going to multiply that, and it gives me 1,050,000. And this matches, so 50,000 off, but it's close by. And we're estimating here. So algebraically, we get more, this is supposed to be dollars. Algebraically, we get more, an exact number, than graphing. And sometimes you need more exact, sometimes you just need a rough estimate. It just matters on the situation. So go ahead and pause and write this down. I have another board for you. So here we're dealing with intercepts. Now an x or y-intercept is a point where a graph intersects or meets the x or y axis. So in this graph we have several x-intercepts, 1, 2, 3. These are all, it's supposed to be an arrow. X-intercepts. X-intercept. And this is also an X-intercept. Now, this one right here is my Y-intercept. And algebraically, what it means by X-intercept or Y-intercept, that means it doesn't move anywhere on the other. So X-intercept means it goes on the X, but it doesn't move up and down, so your Y is always 0. And Y-intercept moves up and down, but it doesn't move left and right, so your X is 0. So we use that algebraically, that if you want to find the intercept, you put the 0 in for the other variable, and then you solve. So when we want to find the Y-intercept, use a graph to find the Y-intercept, then confirm algebraically. The Y-intercept is right here, which should be 0. So our answer should be, right, yes, so it should be 0. So use a graph to find the Y-intercept. Is it the Y or the X? Yes, the Y-intercept. This is x cubed, so f of x equals x cubed minus 3. So I'm looking for the y-intercept, making all my x's 0. So in order for me to find y-intercept, my x has to equal 0. So I'm going to plug in, oh sorry, this is supposed to be x. So 0 cubed minus 0 is 0. So check. This is my y-intercept, and this is my y-intercept algebraically. They're both telling me that it crosses the y-axis at 0. Easy? So with that one, it's the same thing. We're doing the x-intercept for the next board. So go ahead and pause and write this down. This is your last board, I promise. So the x-intercept is actually the solution to our, whenever we're finding equations, it's how we find the solution. It's called roots or zeros. So then when they're asking you to find roots or zeros, they're asking you to find all the x-intercepts, okay? And this is an x-intercept here. So this is not the right equation. I don't know why they wrote it down, but here's the equation. X squared minus 4x plus 4, right? So it wants us to find the zeros, then confirm them algebraically. So I should have 1, 2. My x should be 2. So let's solve it algebraically. I'm going to replace this with 0. Y equals 0 in order to find my x-intercept. So 0 equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. This one is a little more complicated because I have multiple x's, so I can't just plug it in. It's not as easy as when I plug in 0 for x's. In this case, I have to do the 2 bubbles from last year, remember? 2 numbers, when multiplied together, gets me the last, which is plus or minus 4. If you're not sure on how to do this, please watch the video in Algebra 2 on factoring, just to remind you. But 2 numbers, when multiplied together, gets me positive 4, but when added together, gets me negative 2. That would be minus 2 minus 2. Let's check. Yes, negative 2 minus 2 gives me negative 4. Negative 2 plus negative 2, and then negative 2 times negative 2 is this. So it's, so then I do x minus 2 equals 0. I plug in this equals 0, and then this bubble, x minus 2 equals 0. So I add 2 to both sides. This tells me that it's x equals 2. X equals 2. Sometimes there'll be 2 different answers, right? If I was solving for the x-intercept for this, I would have actually 3 answers. 1, 2, 3. Okay? But in this case, because they're the same, the bubble's the same, the answer is the same, so I only have 1 x-intercept, which is my x-intercept at 2. The point here is 2, 0, because an intercept is a location, so I have 2. Which here, the location would be 0, 0. Okay? So this would be my x-intercept. So go ahead and pause and write this down. Try your guided practice 3A and 4A, guided practice 3A and 4A, and I will see you in class.